Red Dead 2 is considered by many to be the most detailed game in history, but behind all this immersion there are hidden mechanics that Rockstar never told you about. They are subtle details, almost secret tricks and interactions that completely transform the way you play. The question here is, do you really know this game? Or are you still playing like a beginner without knowing? Today I will show you a roundup of mechanics that most people have never used, but that advanced players explore every day, from shortcuts that save time to combat techniques that can save your life in an ambush, through exploration and hunting features that seem almost like cheating because of how powerful they are. Stick with me until the end of this video to find out if you are or not an advanced Red Dead 2 player. So without further ado, let's go to the video. I will kick off this content with something extremely simple yet very functional, and even veteran players overlook: the quick access menu. To open it, just press the left arrow or the L key on PC. There you will find a menu with all pending tasks, including item requests and side missions. But what really makes a difference is the Challenges tab. There you can check all open challenges without having to press start. Go to progress and only then to challenges. It may seem silly, but this saves a few precious minutes. Still on the subject of things that few people know, it's worth mentioning the hair pomade. Many players think you can only apply it at the barbershop or at camp, but that's wrong, as you can do it anytime. Just open the satchel menu, select the item, and there you go. Arthur applies the product anywhere on the map. Now, moving on to combat, we're going to talk about an elite mechanic. It's not Deadeye itself, but one of its hidden advantages: reloading. Instead of wasting time manually reloading in the middle of a shootout, just activate Deadeye when the cartridge is almost empty. The game instantly reloads all your bullets, and you can still take out enemies without watching that slow animation. And since we're talking about weapons, let me comment on one of my favorites, the bolt-action rifles. Besides being beautiful and stylish, they are extremely powerful. Their only weakness is the rate of fire, as Arthur needs to work the bolt after each shot, but there's a little known trick to speed this up. Just shoot normally, and right after the shot, release the aim button while still holding down the fire button. This way, Arthur lowers the rifle to waist level and works the bolt much faster, drastically increasing the rate of fire. It may seem a bit complicated at first, but with practice it becomes quite easy. And since I mentioned tense moments, who hasn't gotten frustrated trying to mount a horse during an ambush? The animation is slow, and in that time you can easily take at least 3 shots. The trick to bypass this is quite simple. Just press the mount button while still aiming with any weapon. This way the game thinks Arthur is in combat and speeds up the animation significantly. And the best part is that this method works in any situation. You don't actually need to be in a real combat situation. Another detail is when you leave the hotel in Valentine or Strawberry and think, here we go down all these stairs just to mount the horse. But the trick is that many players don't do that. The secret is to go to the balcony, whistle for the horse, position yourself, and jump straight on top of it. If you get the timing and position right, Arthur lands mounted and you're already riding in great style. Remember that this works in any location where Arthur is higher than the horse, including even trains. Speaking of style, nothing is more fair than taking good care of your loyal companion. As we know, the horse gets dirty over time, and the traditional way to clean it is to get off and use the brush. But there is a much more practical method. Just open the radial menu while still mounted and select the brush. This way, Arthur brushes the animal without the need to dismount. The second method is a bit more rustic and basically involves entering the river. In a few seconds, submerged in the water, he comes out very clean, without the need to spend time brushing. This last method is especially useful before the mission Exit Pursued by a Bruised Ego, when the brush is not yet unlocked. And since even the horse can be cleaned in an alternative way, know that Arthur also has his own way. Let's face it, it's a pain to have to pay for the hotel just to take a bath every single time. But the most attentive players have already discovered the solution. Just store outfits on the horse. This way you can go to it and change clothes directly from the radial menu. That way Arthur stays clean instantly without needing to take a bath. Moving on to horse mechanics and exploration, an elite tip used by advanced players is the secondary horse. You may already know about it, but it's the horse that can accompany the main one during journeys in free roam. If you don't have it yet, it's pretty simple. Just store 2 horses at the camp, then you mount the main one and whistle. The catch is that the secondary horse will respond to the call since you are riding the main one. And why is this so useful? Well, because the secondary horse can literally double your carrying capacity. Normally we only ride with 1 horse and can only carry 1 large or medium carcass, but with this trick you can can practically double the transport capacity as you can move 2 large or medium carcasses at the same time. Now, this next mechanic I'm sure 90% of you don't know about, the stamina strategy. Who hasn't struggled watching the horse's stamina vanish quickly on long trips? This mainly happens with weaker breeds. What few people know is that you can drastically decrease the speed at which the stamina core drains. Just press the ride button at the same cadence as the horse is running. This way you maintain speed without spending as much and you can go further. If you calm the horse down from time to time during the race, there's a good chance that a significant part of the core will be regenerated. Another underexplored mechanic is the famous autopilot. Yes, many players don't know, but the game has that. To use it, just mark a destination on the map, hit the road and hold the ride button. This way, Arthur and the horse follow the path on their own. Oh, and if you activate the cinematic camera, the experience gets even better. And the more time you spend with the same horse, the stronger the bond between you gets. This increases the distance at which he responds to whistling, but also unlocks special abilities. At maximum level, you can make the horse rear up, brake sharply, reverse, and even move sideways. When used properly, these moves make the gameplay much more dynamic. And remember the tip about brushing the horse without having to get down? Well, there's something very similar but for crafting items. Just open the radial menu while mounted on the horse and select the crafting option. This way you can craft any item that doesn't require a campfire, and this is extremely useful during hunts when you need to quickly replenish ammunition, like special arrows for example. Now tell me, have you ever been in a situation where your horse dies in the middle of nowhere and you find yourself stranded in a remote location? Well, I bet you have. The usual reaction from players is to steal any horse they can find and continue on their journey. But the problem is that this hinders those who are playing an honorable run. The way veteran and experienced players handle this is different. They hitch a ride. That's right, few people know this, but you can flag down a wagon or carriage on the road. The driver will stop and wait for you. As you approach, an option to ask for a ride will appear in the interaction menu. By selecting it, Arthur can hop on the carriage and ride to the nearest town. The only downside is that you can't skip the journey. Still, it's an incredible mechanic that the game never explains and that very few people know about. Moving on to hunting and resources, there's a tip that I always use in my gameplays, but that I only see more advanced players using. You know when you're fishing and it takes forever to reel in the fish to the shore? Well, know that this process can be sped up if you keep raising and lowering the rod repeatedly while reeling in the line. This combined movement saves a lot of time, even working with big fish like Jeremy Gill's legendary ones. Within the same category, there is a glitch to skip the animal skinning animation. I know they are amazing and definitely one of the highest technical points of the whole game. But let's face it, they become tiresome when we are farming skins, especially from larger animals. The trick here is to position the horse right next to the carcass so that when you get off, the skinning button appears immediately. This way the horse blocks the animation and Arthur instantly collects the skin. I say glitch because this was already happening back in Red Dead 1 in 2010, so it's more of a recurring mechanic in the franchise than a proper bug. And who hasn't been in doubt about which ammo or weapon to use to get a perfect kill? This happens to everyone, but there is a 100% effective method for medium to large animals. Just lasso the animal, get off the horse, and kill it with a knife. This way, the kill is perfect and the skin doesn't suffer any damage. Speaking of perfect kills, a trick that experienced players always do early on in a run is to hunt the legendary deer, which is located at this point on the map in Big Valley near the town of Strawberry. It is crucial because it provides the ingredient to craft the deer talisman, which greatly increases the chances of getting perfect pelts. Many times we miss the shot on a 3-star animal and ruin the pelt, but when skinning it, the talisman corrects that and returns the quality to 3 stars, which is a real game changer. And to close this topic, we couldn't leave out the famous infinite tonics. This glitch has been around since the game's release and has never been fixed by Rockstar to this day. Here's how it works. You open the radial menu and consume any tonic, but just before Arthur finishes the drinking animation, you jump over an obstacle. It can be a fence, for example, but it works with anything that interrupts the animation. The tonic's effect is applied normally, but it is not consumed from your inventory. With this method, you can literally go through the entire game with just one bottle, without ever needing to replenish. It's surreal. I myself only learned this trick now after over 2,000 hours of gameplay. To wrap up the video, I'm going to talk about interactions and curiosities in the game world, and I'll start with something that I'm sure 90% of you don't know. Since GTA 4, Rockstar has implemented the mechanic of search zones when we are wanted by the authorities. Usually we need to leave the area and hide for a few minutes to lose the wanted level, but few people know that in Red Dead 2 it's possible to lose the wanted level even while inside the search zone. To do this, just crouch and hide, whether inside a structure or even in bushes in the forest. If you are invisible, the map icon will change from white to a shade of gray. In this scenario, the chance of being seen by the police decreases significantly, and over time, the wanted level disappears. Man, when I discovered this, my mind just blew up. Still talking about Law and Order, one of the most frustrating things in this game is robbing a train. We start the heist, grab everything we can, and soon enough the bounty on our head is through the roof. Most of the time, the bounty amount is higher than what we managed to steal, which ends up taking away all the fun. However, there is an incredible method very popular among advanced players. It involves waiting for the train to arrive at this tunnel in Roanoke Ridge, right near Widow Charlotte's house in this location on the map. Once inside the tunnel, you can stop the train, rob all the passengers, and calmly blow up all the safes. The only obstacle is the guards, but since we're inside the tunnel, the authorities never get close enough to see Arthur. As a result, a complete robbery without a bounty on the character's head, no loss, and a profit of 100%. This is the only way to make train robberies truly profitable in Red Dead 2, and all of this without mods, of course. Now tell me, have you ever been surprised by a bear out in the middle of nature? Well, I bet you have. And there's no more unpleasant surprise because they deal a lot of damage and are hard to take down. But that's only a problem for the casuals. The veterans know that if you stay completely still when the bear spots you, there's a huge chance of it simply giving up the attack, as it doesn't see you as prey or a threat. This allows you to escape unscathed from a brutal attack without spending a single bullet. Of course, this doesn't always work, so keep that in mind. And to wrap up the video with style, I'm going to share something simple and even mundane, but that I only found out after 2,500 hours of gameplay. You know Pearson stew, the one we can eat at the camp. Well, until yesterday I swore you could only eat it at the camp, but walking around Valentine I found the same stew being prepared in the town. You know that camp next to the stable and in front of the butcher? Right there, I saw the pot, got close, and lo and behold, the interaction button appeared. I was shocked because you can eat it exactly like we do at the camp. You can see that it's the exact same model from the camp because even the damn spoon bug falling is present. Man, it's surreal. The game is almost 7 years old and new details are still being discovered. But now I want to know, did you already know about this or are you discovering it here with me in the video? And if you already knew, leave in the comments the locations of other places where you can also eat this stew. I promise to visit all of them in the next episode of things you probably didn't know, okay? So leave it down below. In this video, I showed a roundup of hidden and lesser known mechanics in the game, those that usually only intermediate to advanced level players know about. But now I ask you, are you a beginner in Red Dead 2? Only the most experienced, for example, know that you can blind one of Micah Bell's eyes with a knife, leaving him marked even in the final mission. I showed this in a video of things you didn't know in Red Dead 2. By clicking here next to the yellow arrow, you'll go straight to that video to learn this trick. And that was today's video, folks. I hope you enjoyed it. We'll see you in the next video. A big hug to everyone and see you later. Bye.